Hello and welcome to another one of our videos on Kenpo self-defense techniques. My name's Andy Seetherton and I'm the Senior Instructor of Combat Fusion Martial Arts. In this video we'll be looking at the technique shielding hammer. Now for those of you who have progressed or are progressing the yellow belt syllabus, you'll be aware of the technique sword of destruction and delayed sword. Well, those two techniques are family related techniques to shielding hammer. So look at the concepts in those techniques and compare them to shielding hammer during this video. We will also be looking at the squeegee principle, using upper and lower case weapons to impact a target, not just focusing on one specific part of the arm to use as an impact weapon. We'll also be looking at the use of strikes and body positioning in shielding hammer that can be used to counter any possible follow-up moves our opponent may try. So we'll get into shielding hammer now. As usual, we'll look at it without a partner first, then we'll discuss the breakdown, and then we'll have a look at 2 or 3 variations at the end.
The attack for this technique is a step-through roundhouse or haymaker type punch. The response for this attack is to step back out of contact into a neutral pose, delivering an outward extended block. When executing this block, ensure the blocking arm impacts below our opponent's elbow. By blocking above the elbow, we give our opponent the option to get around our block with a strike. This technique receives its name from the action of the blocking arm. Initially, the arm shields our head from the attack. Then, in the manner of a blacksmith hammering onto an anvil, we use the shielding hammer as our counterattack. Our opponent is unlikely to just rely upon a single attack. So as he follows up with a secondary attack, we deliver an inward hammer fist to the temple of our opponent's head. This hammer fist forces his head onto his shoulder, thereby aiding in cancelling his secondary attack. Remember to strike with a path of action, allowing the utilization of the fist and the forearm as the weapon if it is needed. As our opponent will also have his momentum moving towards us, there should be no requirement to launch ourselves at him as we deliver this hammer fist. However, if our opponent keeps his head back out of our range, we may convert the intent of our strike into a block to his secondary attack. Allow the hammer fist momentum to continue to flow, rounding an elongated circle to deliver an outward elbow to his solar plexus, simultaneously push dragging forward. Focus this forward momentum to settle into a neutral bow as the elbow impacts its target, with the free hand checking above the striking elbow. There is an option to convert this check into an eye strike, facilitated by our opponent's reaction to the outward elbow. We will now proceed on to the extension to shielding hammer. If you do not require this at your stage in training, you may wish to bypass the next section of this video. Following on from the outward elbow, move forward into a front twisted stance. Simultaneously strike our opponent's groin with a downward hammer fist from our lead arm, with a vertical punch to his sternum from our rear arm. When executing this maneuver, we must ensure our posture is not leaning backwards. This is very common when students unconsciously try not to inconvenience their training partner. This is an extremely bad habit to acquire. Ensure our momentum is forward and down, having our posture upright but weighted slightly forward. We should be able to move our training partner with a push. Now continue by delivering an upward obscure elbow to his chin with our lead arm. Begin to unpivot from our twisted stance and with the same arm deliver an outward heel palm to his jaw, followed by an outward ripping 5-fingered claw to his face. Complete the unpivot by settling into a neutral bow with an outward heel palm to our opponent's sternum or solar plexus. The heel palm should move our opponent back into the contact penetration range for the next strike. Pivot into a rear cat or close kneel stance and execute a back kick to our opponent's groin. From here, front crossover and cover out.
And welcome back. So now we're going to progress on to our variations, but before we do that, I'd like to remind you, if you haven't done so already, please think of subscribing to our channel and also hit that notification bell so you're told when we put up a video. We try to get a video up at least once a month. And also give the video a like and don't forget to share it out to all your friends. Now we'll go on to first variation. In this one we start off with shielding hammer, but our opponent throws a follow-up attack, which is a roundhouse kick. We naturally there have the opportunity to move into the technique swinging pendulum, which we execute. But as we go to finish executing the extension to swinging pendulum, our opponent moves out of range. So we use that distance and bridge the gap by going into the extension to shielding hammer. We just do it off the opposite side. And now for variation number 2. Here we defend against the base attack from shielding hammer, but this time our opponent follows up with an uppercut instead of a roundhouse kick. So we just simply insert the base movement from raining claw and then finish out with the standard extension to shielding hammer. And now for our third and final variation. We're going to stick with the building of combination counterattacks from our opponent. So after we defend against the initial attack to shielding hammer, our opponent counters with the uppercut, and we again insert raining claw, but then we notice that our opponent is attempting to uppercut us again, but this time with his other hand. So we simply convert the technique to incorporate an insert of the technique, glancing wing, and finish out from there. Well, that's another one of our videos completed. I hope you find it of use, and I hope it improves your Kenpo just a little bit. Don't forget, if you have any comments or any requests, put them in the comments section and we'll see if we can help you out. We've got quite a bit of content on our YouTube channel now. Some of the videos relate to the lesser practiced sets and some of the number 2 sets, but I also go into some of the basic movements, foot maneuvers, crossovers, and how they're executed. So if you're struggling with some of those stuff, it might pay you to go back and have a look at some of the basics we actually have in our content. So if you would be so kind as not to forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button, and don't forget the notification bell. I hope to see you here on our next video. This is Andy Seathern saying goodbye.